Okay, you want to be behind the brake? Off the brake? All right, no, it makes sense to me. Does it only want us in front of the brake here or behind the brake? Is it behind the brake? Okay. Perfect.
Less work you have to do.
That sounds good to me. All right, super. Thank you.
But I'll bring it.
Well, that's great fun. Hey, Ray, how are you? How you doing?
I got a quick question.
thank and welcome you all here for our 2007 Veterans Day celebration here on Wilmington Common. I'd like to invite our chaplain, Eddie Williams, to the podium to offer a prayer.
Almighty God, the sovereign ruler of all nations, in whose hand is all the power and the might, we bring before thy throne of grace the armed forces of our country. May they continue to be the power for peace and so defend our liberties that the heritage received from our forefathers may be preserved in our time and transmitted unimpaired to the generations to come. Amen.
Thank you, Eddie. Can our unit commanders please report to the flagpole to assist in the raising of the American flag while the Wilmington High School Band plays our national anthem.
Veterans units and color guard commanders, call your units to attention and prepare to salute the colors. Present home!
Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite State Representative Jim Maselli up here to say a few words.
Thank you, Lou. I want to congratulate the Veterans Organization, the Police Department, Fire Department, the Scouts, the band, for making this a wonderful morning this morning. This is an important morning because the military is in the forefront of the debates throughout the country today. The Commonwealth is currently home to just under 500,000 veterans who have served this state and nation. They live by the words duty, honor, country. Had occasion recently to participate in 21 debates, and I kept stressing that. These folks really believe in it, they subscribe to it, and this is what they fight for. They've upheld these beliefs and ideals by risking their lives while bravely leaving behind family and friends. And you know the sacrifices that are made in the defense of our country. And this is all wars. And those who are overseas today in Afghanistan, in Iraq, on this Veterans Day, let us pause and pay tribute to those brave men and women who've enabled us to live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. My message today is this. It is imperative that we do whatever we can to give back to those who have proudly worn the uniform of this country. The Massachusetts legislature has been successful in honoring veterans by passing various bills to show the Commonwealth's appreciation for their service. But we can't do enough. Whenever we can, we should continue to do even more. Service members' families are enduring unexpected and immense hardship when faced with deployment and often redeployment. Comprehensive support services would soften the blow for families that are left behind and the service members upon their return. These services would include state job hiring, preferences for spouses, extending or waiving deadlines for certain professional license renewals, and kindergarten and pre-kindergarten registration preferences. The Welcome Home Bill passed by the legislature this year, and there was participation from a lot of the officials standing here, waives both tuition and fees at state and community colleges for current Massachusetts National Guard members. The legislature should do everything in its power to extend these waivers to all Massachusetts veterans. For burials, the current veterans' burial benefits are grossly inadequate to account for the rising cost of funeral services. Hopefully, these legislative initiatives will become a reality for the Commonwealth. As I said earlier, the debate through the 29 cities and towns comprising the 5th Congressional District centered on the war, and it was my position from the outset, and it is my position today, and it probably mirrors the position of many of the folks standing here, that we have to do everything to support these people. But those are idle words to say we support our troops. We've got to support their endeavor and do everything to bring it to a successful conclusion. And the disgrace that was our state hospitals and our national hospital for veterans, the hospital down in D.C., should never have occurred. These are things we have to take care of. Not only must we support our troops and our people who are fighting over there, we must make sure that the services are waiting for their return, and that the facilities offered, both psychological and physical, are what they should be, the best. And we can't begin to pay back all of these folks who have fought on behalf of our country, including those in past world wars, including those in past, and I'll use that word, skirmishes, which I find not very descriptive and not an apt description. But I'm proud to participate in today's services, and I want to say that Wilmington always does their veterans proud, and they in turn have done us something that we can't begin to pay for. I'm going to be leaving, and I'm going to Tewksbury, so I'm not just leaving and going off somewhere, to participate in their services. And I want to thank all of those who made this possible, and thank you for giving me this occasion to speak this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Maselli. I'd now like to introduce Senator Bruce Tarr to come up and say a few words this morning.
Thank you very much, Lou, and good morning. Please allow me to extend my gratitude to you for bringing us all together, as well as all of the organizations, the police and the fire department, the band, the scouts, the families, all of the people who stand here today in the center of town with veterans foremost in our hearts, because we know how critical this is. Although sometimes in our society today, unfortunately, we tend to forget. We should never forget. We should never forget the importance of this day, that we live in the most remarkable country on the face of this earth for so many reasons. But one of those reasons is that individuals, whether they be brothers or sisters or fathers or uncles or whomever they are, sometimes related to us, sometimes not, are connected to each and every one of us. And they are connected because they raised their hand and they swore an oath. And that oath was to defend at every chance and every opportunity, regardless of the price, regardless of the sacrifice, to defend the things that make us Americans. Things that we should be proud of: liberty and freedom and justice for all. And when they did that, there was no condition attached, nor should there be a condition attached to our love and support for them. And that's why it's critical that we stand today to show that support in a visible way, and also to ensure that our democracy does what it should, to keep the promise to make sure that there is not a veteran anywhere in this country that lies in a hospital bed in despair and wonders if he or she will get the medical care that they deserve, or that wonders if they will be able to pursue the benefits of an education that was promised to them when they rose that hand and became a member of all of our families. or that they will be fighting in a faraway land like Afghanistan or Iraq and wonder whether they will get the kind of support that they need, not only in terms of weaponry and technology, but also the kind of support that is so vital that comes from our heart and our minds. And so today, it's important that we stand here and rededicate ourselves, as we should every day, to ensuring that we remember that regardless of where they're from or who they are connected to each and every one of us, and we are connected to each and every one of them. And it is appropriate that we ensure that promises made are promises kept in our legislature, in the federal legislature, and at every opportunity that we have. But it's also important to do something else. It's important to stand with our veterans, not only in terms of law, not only in terms of dollars and cents, but also in terms of our hearts. And so I hope that this day we will remember the incredible power that comes from reaching out a hand and saying thank you, or welcome back, or job well done. We care about you because you have always cared about us. That's what I hope we'll do this Veterans Day, to stand in this daily sun of this bright day and remember how much we care about them, but each day reach out our hand and say, you are part of us and we are part of you. We will not forget and we will never walk away. Thank you very much.
I would like to recognize some dignitaries that are here. Wilmington's Town Manager, Michael Kyra. Members of the Board of Selectmen, Mike McCoy and Charlie Fury. And I'd like to introduce now to come up and say a few words is the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen of Wilmington, Mike Newhouse.
Good morning, folks. Let me first extend greetings and well wishes from Selectman Ray Lepore, who gave me a call and indicated that he has very important family commitments this morning that prevent him from being here. Again, thank you for the opportunity not only to be here, but to be a small part of this ceremony. Veterans Day has actually always been one of my favorite holidays, along with Thanksgiving and the 4th of July and Memorial Day. And probably the most important reason why that's so is because for those holidays, people in America seem to continue to recognize the true meaning of the day. It's more than just a day off from work or a chance to go visit family. People really do recognize that it's an opportunity to honor the men and women who fought to defend freedom here at home and throughout the world. We continue to recognize that we need to pay tribute to the sacrifices that our veterans have made, to commemorate the dead, and to celebrate the opportunity to live in the greatest country in the world. I do believe that we continue to recognize the true meaning of this day, but there's one thing that, especially my generation, we could do a little bit better, and that's to emulate our veterans in our everyday lives. I've often heard that what makes veterans so special is that as a group, they are ordinary people who've done extraordinary things. I believe that. I believe also that it's those extraordinary things and those extraordinary experiences that give veterans of war a unique perspective in life. When I look at the veterans that I know, I see people who understand and who've taught me the difference between having a tough day and having a bad day. A tough day is when you sit at the kitchen table with your head in your hands wondering, how am I going to pay the mortgage next month? A bad day, that's when you hold a buddy's head in your hands amidst the chaos of a battlefield while he takes his last breath. A tough day is when you have to lay off a valuable employee because business is a little bit slower than you'd like it to be. A bad day is when you lay to rest 566 brave Americans the first day alone at Iwo Jima. A tough day is when you're awake for hours waiting for the sunrise because your young baby kept you up all night. A bad day is when you lie awake waiting for the sunrise because you want to confirm that the man you killed in the black of night is indeed the enemy. A tough day is when you struggle to get out of work on time to go home so that you can celebrate your daughter's birthday. A bad day is when you're on the other side of the world fighting tyranny and oppression on the day that your little girl is born. I firmly believe that the perspective that veterans have is what make them better people and are what make them great. I believe that perspective is what enables them to overcome adversity better than most of us. I believe that veterans' perspective makes them complain less often about what they don't have and makes them more willing to share what they do have. I believe that veterans are slower to attack a person's integrity and faster to offer constructive advice and a helping hand. The veterans that I know are likely to turn the other cheek at least once, sometimes twice, but seldom a third time. I believe these admirable qualities which make so many of our veterans great people, it's what they all share. And it's these qualities that we need to recognize not only today, not only tomorrow and next week and next month, but it's those qualities that we need to emulate throughout the year. I'm certain that if we do that, we will make this town and this country an even better place to live. To our veterans, thank you so much for your sacrifice, for your courage, and for your service. Thank you for serving not only as defenders of freedom and liberty, but thank you for serving as the kind of citizens we all should aspire to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. It's now my honor to introduce Brian O'Brien from Wilmington. He's the National Sergeant of Arms for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Brian?
Good morning. First, may I say how honored I am to be in my hometown and to have been asked to say a few words on this day that we have commemorated to those men and women who have and are presently serving in America's armed forces. It has been said that without the American soldier, it would be or would never have been the United States of America. I agree with that statement, that without the American sailor, without the American soldier, the Marine, the Airman, or the Coast Guardman, there would never have been a nation to found, a union to save, or a world to help free from tyranny. On this Veterans Day, all of us need to recognize that throughout our nation's history, there is a unique group of citizens who have stepped forward every time to ensure that the safety and security and well-being of the rest of the nation will be protected. And that special group of citizens has been the 52 brave men and women who have served the United States Armed Forces since the nation's birth. That is why we celebrate Veterans Day, to recognize and to honor those who have placed country above self, who have placed the safety and security of others before their own, and who have done their duty by taking their place in line just as generations of military men and women have done before them. Let there be no mistake that when you leave here today, our country owes its very existence to the American soldier, and our world would be a very different place as well. In 1917, we had World War I, the war to end all wars. In the 1940s, after World War II, that generation was appropriately named the Greatest Generation. In the 1950s, Americans fought communist aggression on the Korean Peninsula. And then again in 1960 and the 60s, men and women fought communist aggression on the Southeast Asian peninsula known as Vietnam. Today we have the most powerful military in the history of the world, with only 2.2 million servicemen and women. And they are fighting terrorism both in Iraq and Afghanistan. They are our sons and our daughters of America. That is why we gathered here today, to say thank you to our veterans of the past and to honor our members serving in uniform today. It was World War I, the Great War, that we now commemorate as Veterans Day. The armistice was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Finally, to those of us who have worn or continue to wear the uniform of our great country, we honor you. We honor the sons and the daughters, our mothers and our fathers, our brothers and our sisters, who are serving on behalf of everyone in our great country, just like generations of American patriots did before them. We honor them is to honor the spirit that is the United States of America, a spirit that says duty, honor, and country are ideals that are still worth living for today as much as they were 230 years ago. In ending, I again would like to thank you for asking me to be here today, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Wilmington's pretty fortunate to have a gentleman that's in a national position in an organization like the VFW as the Sergeant of Arms. But Wilmington's also fortunate to have a gentleman that's in the same position, and now he's a past National Sergeant at Arms for the American Legion. These two veterans organizations do so much work for our veterans year-round, and there's so many benefits to belong to those two organizations. And I'd like to recognize, again, Brian O'Brien and Joe Steen, the past National Sergeant of Arms for the American Legion. When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle, or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. These words are inscribed on the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. Those words apply equally to many of our World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Gulf War, and today's global war on terrorism veterans as well. They apply to today's active duty service members, tomorrow's veterans, who are helping to maintain peace throughout the world. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high, and we can afford to forget those willing to pay it. Like the heroes before them, today a new generation of men and women from Wilmington are fighting for freedom around the world. Their determination, courage, and sacrifice are laying the foundation for a more secure and peaceful world. Today we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave. At this time, I would like to invite Eddie Williams, our chaplain, and Brian O'Brien, the National Sergeant of Arms, the VFW, and Joe Steen, the past National Sergeant of Arms, the American Legion, to come up and place the wreath at the memorial. Honor guards, attention. Present arms. May I have the captain of the firing squad have your men fire a volley of 3, followed by the playing of taps, and 1 cannon volley from the Wilmington Minutemen. At this time, I would like to thank Chief of Police Mike Pagonis and his men for an excellent job with traffic control and their participation in today's ceremonies. Fire Chief Daniel Stewart and his men for their continued support of our veteran ceremonies. Superintendent of Public Works Don Onosite for assisting with today's program and the work his crew have done and continue to do in the upkeep of our town's veteran squares and commons. Town Manager Michael Kyra for his administration's continued support for Wilmington's veterans, and the Wilmington High School Band for their wonderful support and participation in today's ceremonies and all the ceremonies we do for veterans. I say thank you. We're here today to honor all the veterans and to say thank you to all the veterans. But there's a couple here that I'd like to recognize. Recently returning Operation Iraqi Freedom veterans, or Operation Enduring Freedom veterans, Specialist Jimmy Covert, Sergeant First Class Todd DeGrow, Senior Master Sergeant John DeWorry, and Tech Sergeant John DeWorry, who's a member of the Wilmington Honor Guard right now, the cadet from West Point, Zach Champa. And if I forget any of this right now, come on up and see me afterwards, but we do all say thank you and welcome home. I sincerely thank all of you who have come out here today to honor all our veterans past and present. Your presence here shows that you have not forgotten and you are willing to say thank you. So on behalf of the Department of Veteran Services here in Wilmington, I say thank you to you. May everybody have a wonderful day. And now the band is going to play a march as the honor guards pass and review as they exit the common. Thank you.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you very much. You look good, did a great job.
Yeah, just better, actually. Oh, good to see you.
Okay, I'll see you later. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay.